Often when things go wrong at the national level, people tend to look back on the past with nostalgia to the times when things were still good. The romantic image of a virtuous earlier time is held up as a mirror to the present and used as a tool for criticism. Thucydides does the same thing, albeit only briefly. He writes, quote, "Thus every form of iniquity took root in the Hellenic countries by reason of the troubles. The ancient simplicity into which honor so largely entered was laughed down and disappeared, and society became divided into camps in which no man trusted his fellow." End quote. It's not entirely clear what Thucydides means by ancient simplicity, and this has been a matter of interpretation. The immediate point seems to be that while things in Corcyra degenerated into a situation whereby people constantly had to make strategies, engage in intrigues, and dissemble their true loyalties and beliefs, in the old days, people knew none of this. They could simply interact with one another in a normal way on the basis of simple friendship. But in the extreme situation of the revolution, it was impossible for anyone to trust anyone else, and one always had to be on one's guard. This kind of situation erodes all human relations and any sense of community over time. In such a climate, cynicism comes to dominate. Every illegal or immoral act can always be justified by the urgency of the situation. From this perspective, the earlier life of simplicity looks like a lost paradise. The collapse of the civil order in Corcyra can also be understood in terms of the struggle of civilization with nature. According to Thucydides, humans have by nature a set of passions which, when left on their own, are uncontrollable. Society and community is only possible when there are laws in place that can hold these in check. In normal times, these passions flare up here and there when there are, for example, instances of violent crime. However, when the law starts to break down, then free rein is given to the passions. Like the ring of Gyges that Plato talks about, if one feels confident that one can commit a crime without detection, then there's no longer anything standing in the way of doing so, and no longer any reason to respect the law. Thucydides puts this as follows, quote, "In the confusion into which life was now thrown in the cities, human nature, always rebelling against law and now its master, gladly showed itself ungoverned in passion, above respect for justice, and the enemy of all superiority." The idea here is that at bottom, humans are untamed passions. Society and civilization are just a thin veneer that is laid over the teeming impulses of nature. In principle, humans are, quote, "ungovernable passions." According to this view, we live in a constant inner struggle with the law. Here again, we see an example of Greek essentialism, that is, the idea that human beings have a fixed nature that cannot be changed. Humans are products of nature, and there's nothing more to be said about it. The idea that humans are something more than nature, that they can use their freedom to overcome nature, has not yet arisen. Thucydides does not seem to consider that humans can use their reason to prefer the law to their immediate natural impulses, and that with proper education, this conflict can subside.